Hello to all of you that have bought Time Trader. Thank you very much for that. It's £50 a month for a month subscription, and it will pay for itself in a day. Yesterday I made 500 points on gold using it, and if we look at yesterday's price action, and I didn't even trade until the afternoon session, I was only up around about here, and I managed to scalp 500 points in that little section there. So I'm going to take you through Time Trader and how to set it up. Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to find the largest move possible, and we want to know when the greatest volatility is going to come into the market. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at Time Trader, and I'm going to set the volatility limit. So that's minimum score in points. I've got it set to 4,000, which is 40 points. So it hasn't found any 4,000 or 40 point moves. So let's try it 35. And what I usually do is I usually come down in 500 point sections. With Time Trader, 3,500 is actually $35 in terms of a trade. So we've gone to $35 and we found nothing. So I'm going to go down to $30 and see what we find at $30. So at $30, what do we find? Well, $30 on Time Trader has said that we found a move here at 1950 to 2014. So that's quite a short little window, and usually the turn will happen either on that little black line that you can see there, or it sometimes can come in like 3 bars early. So what you want to do when you're using Time Trader is first of all find out when the big move of the day is coming. Now, Time Trader isn't magic, but it's a very handy thing to actually find momentum points in the market. So let's say that you wanted to trade using Time Trader. What are you actually looking for? Well, imagine that that's a candlestick and we were coming to this point in time. So let me put a little body on that. There, we'll just make this looking nice and pretty. So that for me is a little spike candle, a bit of a wobbly old spike candle, but hey, it's a spike candle. So as you start to come into these turn points, what ideally you want to see is you want to see compression. So that's where you get very small little candles as you come into a top, or you want to see rejection. So a big down candle around about this area here would tell me that actually that move was kicking in. So I don't try to anticipate the move. Even if I had a lovely support and resistance level up there, I would still wait for one of 3 things to happen. Firstly, we have to come into the momentum window, the time window. Secondly, we have to be at a level that I would think was important for the market to respect. Now, that's simply support and resistance dressed up in another way. But then I want the market to prove itself by actually putting in a reversal candle. So big down candle or a spike candle with a wick on it at the low. And then you know that the momentum's coming in. So let's say that you come into this area here and you think to yourself, oh, is this going to reverse? Is it going to turn? I don't know. What am I waiting for? Well, what you want to see is you want to see some form of momentum. So a big candle that shoots up like that without much wick on either side. Let's get that over there and you can see what I think a momentum candle looks like. My drawing skills are absolutely terrible, but hey, let's come on block, come with me. There we go. We put that there like that. So if you had a big candle like that and it puts in a lovely wick at the bottom, then that's a momentum candle. Now, it doesn't matter whether you might lose 30 or 40 points here, because you're looking for a $30 move. That's a 300 actual point move. So if you lose 30 points waiting for the market to show its hand to you, that's perfectly acceptable. So it's not yet the American session. So I'm not really interested in using Time Trader because usually momentum is a little bit slow in the London session. So I'm going to wait for New York, and I found out that the best time to use Time Trader is in the American session. So that's any time after about 1 o'clock GMT. So we've got that level, which are the $30, $31 move. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a label and I'm going to just say $30 to $31, just so I know where the big move is going to come in, or where the big move is likely to come in today. And then I'll just get a block and just run the block down here. Now the reason I'm doing that is because this is the highest momentum point in the day, but I want to trade, so I'm also looking at smaller moves. Don't really go under anything under about $15, because by the time you get in, there's not enough money in the move to actually make it worthwhile. So let's go in and say, okay, let's see if we can find a $20 move. Dead excited for this. So we go chart indicator list, we get this, and so how much is a $20 move? Well, it's 2,000 points as such. So let's see what it throws up for us here. Okay, this is looking really interesting. We've got two $20 moves, and of course our $20 move is going to overlap our $30 move. So you can see that they're definitely working in the right zone. So here we've got a $20, $23 move, and here we've got a $20, $27 move. Well, would I take those? Absolutely I would. By the time I've got in, even if I lose say 70 pips, I've still got like 130 pips left to go in the move, so well worth taking. So let me mark those ones as well. And that's the great thing about Time Trader, is you can select what sort of risk reward you're looking for, because if you know you've got a big move, then you can set your stop accordingly, and you can basically just hold on that swing. That's something that really got me when I was trading. I couldn't figure out how long to hold the trade, so I was always getting out far too quickly. So we'll just put that line there. So we'll just mark those, and we'll say $20, $23. So just put those on there, and we say 20 to 23. Okay, so I'm not going to bother marking that one as 27 separately. I know there are 2 points that I would be looking to trade on that market. However, because this is also overlapping with a 27 move, I think I might actually just mark that, because I think the bigger the potential moves, the higher the probability. Could be wrong, but it seems to be my experience. And here you saw Time Trader actually mark that move as a $20 to $30 move, 21 to 28. So what would we have been doing here? Well, you've been buying, of course, because the market's falling into the turn, and you would have made 26 points on that. So yeah, $21, $28 is absolutely right. I tend to go through for the target on the lower side. Sometimes that's wrong, sometimes it just skates through the upper target as well. But I want my trades to win. I don't want to be sitting on a trade watching it go to say 21, 22, thinking, oh, I have 27 out of it, when in actual fact you might only get 25. It says 20 to 27. Doesn't mean it will hit. It says that this is the range that you expect the market to get to. So let's look in at the type of candle structures, because I think I did a really bad job of explaining the candle structures. So let me show you what I mean by a rejection candle. Now, usually I wouldn't bother about candle structure on a 1 minute chart because it's mostly random noise. However, when you become using the momentum trader, when you become used to it, you will understand that these momentum candles actually at momentum points mean something. So that for me is a momentum candle. It's a doji with a long wick down. If that had formed inside my momentum box, I would have definitely gone long. Let's have a look. And I haven't tested this, so this could be a complete red herring. But let's see if I put in a $12 move and see if this point was picked up. We did get to this one, which is quite interesting, because right at the VWAP and right on the VWAP you can see we've got a little doji bar, and it says expect a $12 move. So let's just see how far that move did actually go. So if you'd been bold and sold exactly there, you see that we actually got a $16 move out of that. Here, when you've got a wide area, as I said, usually it's the black line that demarks the turning point. Sometimes it can be the middle. You've got to be a bit careful because this is quite a wide range. So I wouldn't necessarily look to do that trade. But let's say that you were a bolder person than I. Here you've got a black down candle, and you can see that's right on the minute. And then you get this engulfing candle to the upside. So once you've seen that engulfing candle, take out that candle, you go, okay, why not? I'll jump in. So do we get a $12 move out of that? Oh yeah, we do. We get a $13 move. Personally, I don't really go for the small moves, but if it's 16 and 20 and I'm bored, then I will go for that. Here we had really no great indication. We're above the VWAP. I wouldn't have had a clue how to get into that move, so I'm not going to pretend and make it up. So let's have a look. So now we're coming to 12.49. It's saying this is a $12 to a $19 move. Now that's interesting. I would take that. So 12 to 19, you know, let's go for 14, 15 points, somewhere in the middle. And we're above the VWAP, so my ideal point would be a buy. But I really have to put my support and resistance on the chart. You can see you've got this lovely sideways section. The market shot up solidly out of it. So that for me would be a buying area. I.e., we fell, market couldn't push any lower, consolidated sideways, 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 and the buyer said, yo, going to step in. So where did they step in? Let's have a good look at this. Well, the buyers, they stepped in hard at this point here. You can see that because that's that lovely little tail wick. These are the sorts of candles that I like to trade off of. So that's a level for me. If we go down, where could they go? Well, they could go and have another go at that level there. So you can see how I'm building up from the past on the minute chart an idea of where this market might turn. Now, if I do that, then that would kind of be the ideal turn point. If I get those lines straight, that would be where I would want to get in. So you can see very quickly there how I was able to find these turn points relatively quickly. And I'm not going to sit at my computer waiting for small little moves. I want to grab the meat that the gold market is going to give me. And you can do that with Time Trader. As I said, if you want a copy of Time Trader, it's very simple. It's £50 a month. I also run a free Telegram channel where I sometimes, when I'm fast enough, I actually call these trades, and I will very often post up a screenshot so that you can actually see the timing points that I'm looking for volatility to actually move. So there's a link for the Telegram channel if you want to come on. You just type that in to Telegram, and it's a free channel. Lots of great guys there, and we get involved in discussions on the gold market. We often don't agree, but that doesn't matter because it's a very nice community. So you can come to the Telegram channel. If you want to contact me by email, you can send me an email, helpmetradenow@gmail.com, and I will get back to you. Well, I hope you found this interesting. This is the only product I've ever seen that actually has a reliable time forecasting component, and that's unusual. I've never seen this. Price prediction algorithms are out there, but timing ones seem to be pretty thin on the ground. Well, I hope you like this video, and see you in the next one. Bye. I just thought I'd give a little update on that trade. Well, you can see that this was the timing point that we were looking at in the earlier part of the video, and that, if I line it up with the level there, was just one bar short of that low. Now, what I failed to, and it was also off his support and resistance area. So always you've got to have another reason for taking the trade. Don't just jump in because you think, oh, it's in the time point, it must reverse. No, it's always good to actually trade off a support and resistance level. However, what I failed to see in that trade was that we've got the VWAP there, and that VWAP was obviously going to offer some form of resistance. But had I realized that, I still would have had a very nice trade of about 44, 45 points. Now, when you use this indicator, when you calculate the length of a trade, don't always go from the turn point in time. Actually go from the lowest point or the highest point, even if that was slightly outside of the time zone. So if I was measuring, I'd be measuring from there, and then I'd be measuring up $12 to actually put that somewhere around that point there, which would be fine. As it happens, this was a very good example of keeping your eyes open on the chart and making sure that you don't just hold a trade blindly. And that's why I've got that VWAP indicator in this indicator, so that it actually keeps you focused on what's going on. Well, we've got another turning time coming up here, so if we get a bounce up and we come up to the VWAP, well, that's going to be a sell because it's already proving itself as resistance. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it, and I'll see you in the next one.